Aldrich Family, written by Clifford Goldsmith, featuring the Broadway stars Ezra Stone and this week's special guest, Betty Field. Brought to you by Jell-O Puddings, those delicious new desserts all America's talking about. The Aldrich Family arrived on Broadway this week in the hilarious, successful Paramount picture, What a Life. It's truly a four-bell movie, and we urge you all to see it. Tonight, we are pleased to present one of the stars of the motion picture, Miss Betty Field, who will play Barbara Pearson, Henry's sweetheart. As usual, the part of Hen-ree Al-drich is played by Ezra Stone. The scene opens in Barbara's home. It is early evening.
Grandma? Grandmother?
What do you have, Barbara?
Hen-ree Al-drich hasn't come yet, has he?
Just a minute, and I'll ask your father.
No, he hasn't, Barbara.
First time this week he hasn't been here.
Father, could you come here a minute?
Where are you?
I'm here in the front hall.
Well, what is it this time, Barbara?
Now listen, Father. I don't want Grandmother to hear me.
Why don't you want me to?
Oh, no reason. Father.
Yes?
When Henry comes, would you do something for me?
Well, what is it?
I know it's awful, but I've got it all planned. I found out today Henry is saying an awful lot of Constance Marshall.
Who told you?
Constance herself did.
I see.
But, Father, I've even seen them together.
Charles, where's that box of candy we had around here last night?
I haven't any idea.
Father, when Henry does come, would you mind stepping into the room just once or twice and saying George Bigelow wants to speak to me on the telephone?
Well,
You will, Father, won't you?
I'm just a bit surprised, Barbara.
Father, it wouldn't be so terrible, would it? Don't you think I'm human?
Barbara, I still think it'd be much better if you got your grandmother mixed up in this.
But, Daddy, Grandmother wouldn't approve of it. You know she wouldn't.
And exactly what makes you think I do?
It's for Henry's own good, Father. Constance Marshall is so silly.
Barbara, young ladies don't go about deliberately making young men jealous.
Oh, but they do. I beg to differ with you.
Well, sir, I'd give my eye teeth for a piece of that candy. Still had my eye teeth. Charles, somebody's at the front door.
Please say yes, Father.
Well, I'll think it over.
That's practically yes. Tell Henry I'll be right down.
Well, how do you do, young man?
How do you do, Mr. Pearson? How are you this evening?
Splendid.
And, how is Mrs. Sanderson?
She's splendid.
No, she's not either. My digestion's terrible.
Is that you in there, Mrs. Sanderson?
Charles, tell Barbara Henry's here. Been asking all evening where Henry is.
Has she?
No, I haven't either, Grandmother.
I had to stop for a second and see somebody on the way over, Barbara.
Oh.
Oh, do you want to put your hat and that package down?
I'll put my hat down, but I think I'll keep the package.
Don't you trust us, Henry?
Oh, I don't mind holding it. It only weighs 2 pounds.
What's in it?
Oh, just a little something. Well, Mr. Pearson, how do you find business?
Very good, Henry.
You know, my father was saying...
Will you excuse me just a moment, Henry?
That's all right.
Henry, I went over to my doctor's today,
Is that right?
and I can't eat one blessed thing.
Is that right?
And I can't remember when I went to sleep last.
Hello, Henry.
Oh, hello.
Well,
Here's a package for you. Be careful when you take it. It weighs 2 pounds.
you shouldn't have done this, Henry.
Well, aren't you going to open it?
All right. Who did you drop in to see on your way over, Henry?
Nobody in particular.
It wasn't Constance Marshall, was it?
Oh, all she wanted me to do is drop in and say hello.
Oh. She's a nice girl.
Barbara,
Yes, Father?
you're wanted on the telephone.
Who is it?
It sounded like George Bigelow.
George Bigelow? Again? Oh. Will you excuse me, Henry?
Sure.
You mean you're going without opening it?
I'll be right back.
Certainly strange. I didn't hear that phone ring.
Mrs. Sanderson, did Mr. Pearson say George Bigelow?
He did.
George Bigelow. Tell me, what do you honestly think of George?
I'll tell you the truth, I don't think of him at all.
Oh.
What do you think of him?
Oh, you can't get me to say anything against him.
Very honorable of you. You know, I said to Barbara only the other day, young lady, I said, I hope you appreciate what kind of a young man Hen-ree Al-drich really is.
Is that right?
Oh, my, yes.
And what did she say?
I forget now.
Oh.
Well, I certainly hope George doesn't call again.
George fine?
He's very fine.
Glad to hear that.
Certainly wish I could say as much about myself.
Don't you think you'd feel better if you went up to bed, Grandmother?
When are you going to open that candy?
I'm opening it. Candy, Grandmother?
Well, just 2.
Candy, Hen-ree?
Oh, I didn't even know you were there. Thank you.
Very good. Even if they do have nuts.
Shall we step out onto the front porch, Barbara?
No, don't go out there and catch pneumonia, right? To prime your lives.
Or couldn't Barbara put on a coat, maybe?
Oh, Barbara,
Yes, Father?
telephone. I think it's George Bigelow again.
My goodness. I guess he just thinks I don't have anything else to do. Excuse me, Henry.
I must be getting deaf. Henry, do you hear any phone ring?
No, ma'am.
What's the matter with you?
With I?
Whatever it is. Don't you do something about it?
Well, what is there I can do?
What's worth having? It's worth having, ain't it?
You mean I ought to pound the daylights out of George?
Well, either out of him or out of Barbara.
How?
Well, anything you can lay your hands on. That reminds me. Hand me that candy.
But gee, if Barbara likes George, I don't see how socking him is going to help any.
It'll certainly make you feel better, won't it?
Even if he's older than I am?
Listen, young man. I used to be as pretty as any of them in my day, and I know all the tricks of the trade.
Yeah, did you used to fight?
When the occasion demanded it, yes. Hey, are these all caramels?
No, ma'am.
Now, let me tell you something. If you want to make her sit up and take notice, only way to do is to make her jealous.
You mean when she comes into the room, I don't pay any attention to her? I just sit and talk to you.
Well, is that the way they do it in the movies?
You mean I should make her think I like somebody else?
No, I'm telling you. Not as a grandmother, but as one soldier to another. Get busy and get busy quick.
Yes, ma'am.
Here. Want to eat half of this one? It's got nuts in it.
My goodness. George Bigelow. He wants to give me his class pin. Can you imagine such a thing?
Well, I'm late as it is.
Where are you going?
No place. I just told Connie when I dropped in I'd be right back.
Oh. I'm sorry I didn't tell George he could come over.
No, why don't you call him back?
Well, of course. Maybe I will.
If his phone ain't wore out.
Henry, what's that you're putting on the lapel of your coat?
Nothing. Just a pin of Connie she asked me to wear.
Where'd she get it?
Her mother had it first. It's an old family heirloom.
Let me see what it says. Vote the Democratic ticket.
Yeah, the whole family comes from a long line of Democrats.
Oh. I'm sorry you have to go, Henry.
Well, maybe I can stay.
I'm telling you, Hen-ree Al-drich, you're making the mistake of your life.
But, well...
But, Grandmother, I don't think we should force him to go.
Henry?
Well, I guess I have to go, Barbara. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I don't suppose we'll see very much of you from now on, will we?
Why not? Yeah. I guess as time goes on, you won't. Well...
Barbara, you're wanted on the telephone.
Who is it?
You better go to George.
It's Constance Marshall. She's over at somebody's house and wants you to come over.
Is that right?
Oh. I'll answer it in just a minute.
Who is this Constance Marshall?
Constance Marshall is nothing but an NTS.
What's an NTS?
NTS is necktie straightener. Every boy she meets, she has to straighten right away.
Charles, who is Constance Marshall?
Constance Marshall's father is one of the most active Republicans in this state.
Is that right?
I think I'll be going.
I know what you're going to do, Hen-ree Al-drich. You're not going to Connie's house at all.
But I am.
Oh, no, you aren't. You're really going to some other girl's house. I hope whoever she is, you have an awful time there.
But listen...
No, I won't. I hate you, Hen-ree Al-drich.
Young man, get out of this house.
But Mrs. Sanderson...
And don't you ever darken this doorway again. With chocolates filled with nuts and raisins. Get out!
Yes, ma'am. Hiya, Constance.
Where are you going?
No place, just to the grocery store.
Hen-ree Al-drich, look at your necktie.
I know it's crooked. I wear my tie like that purposely.
Please let Constance help you.
Not so tight. Do you want to strangle me?
How do you do, Hen-ree Al-drich?
Oh, how do you do, Mrs. Sanderson?
How do you do, Mrs. Sanderson?
How do you do, young lady?
Where are you going?
I'm going to the doctor's.
Would you like to have me walk along part way with you?
Oh, do you have to go now, Henry?
Gee, I'm late as it is.
Tell you what I wish you'd do, Henry. Stay right where you are.
Here?
Yes, sir. Barbara will be along just a minute or so. We should tell her where I've gone.
But my mother's waiting for the groceries.
Do you want Barbara to walk the streets of this town looking for me? Now, you stay right here, as I tell you to. And you, young lady, you stay here and see he does.
Oh, yes, Mrs. Sanderson.
And you tell her if I'm out at the doctor's, I'll be right across the street from there getting a bag of candy.
Hen-ree Aldrich, look at your hair.
Listen, Constance.
You know, you could be one of the cutest boys I've ever known.
Cute? I'm cute? How do you think I'm cute?
Oh, Henry, you've got the cutest lock of hair right up there.
What's the matter with it?
Every time I push it down, it goes right up. Oh, look at it. Down, up, down, up.
How do you do, Henry?
Where did you come from, Barbara?
No place.
Your grandmother wanted me to tell you she's gone to the doctor's.
I know where she is.
Oh, well, what did she want us to wait here and tell you for?
I should like to add, Hen-ree Aldrich, that you are certainly making a spectacle of yourself out here in the street.
I am?
No self-respecting person would have his hair combed by a girl right out in public.
Listen, Barbara, I'll have you know I'll have my hair combed wherever I want.
And what George Bigelow said about you is absolutely true.
And what'd he say about me?
Never mind. He said, I hope sometime he tells you what he said.
Well, what do you know about that? Gee whiz, anybody'd think I'd struck her.
Henry, if I were you, I'd never speak to her again.
Oh, I hope you don't think I'm going to speak to her again.
Henry, would you like to come over to my house tonight?
Gee whiz, I'd be glad to.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be glad to. I think it would do me good.
I'll tell you.
Before Hen-ree Aldrich comes back, I want to say that if you happen to have an active, growing boy in your family, I know one thing. I know that you're kept plenty busy feeding that boy, because youngsters that age are always hungry, always on the lookout for something good to eat. Well, now, here's a dessert that every boy, and girl too, will say is a real smoothie. The new Jell-O butterscotch pudding. It has a swell, tempting color like gold-colored taffy. It's smooth and luscious, and it just can't be beat for real flavor. As rich and delicious as old-fashioned butterscotch candy. Jell-O butterscotch puddings bring you real, downright homemade goodness. And best of all, it's quick and easy to make. It takes you only a few minutes, there's no fuss or trouble, you just can't go wrong. Then try Jell-O chocolate pudding, with that wonderful real chocolate goodness, smooth and satisfying. And Jell-O vanilla pudding, cream-colored and tempting, with nuts or fruits folded in to make it even more delicious. All three new Jell-O puddings have that homemade richness you love. So try them all. Ask your grocer tomorrow for Jell-O butterscotch, chocolate, and vanilla pudding. Back at the Aldrich home, we find the whole family seated at the breakfast table. Everyone, that is, except Henry.
Henry! Mary, do you know whether Henry's up yet?
He said he was getting up the first time you called.
Father!
What is it?
Father, will you please tell Mary that if she sees Connie Marshall go by to flag her?
Aren't you all dressed yet, Henry?
Practically, Mother.
My goodness, all Henry can think about is Constance Marshall.
How is it he never sees Barbara Pearson anymore?
Her grandmother won't let him near the house.
What's the trouble?
I don't know, except she said something about his going too far over something. And did I tell you about the picture I found under Henry's pillow?
Of whom? Barbara's grandmother?
Of Connie Marshall. And down in the corner it said, Constance to others, but constantly to Henry. Doesn't that make you positively ill, Mother?
Please pass the salt.
This whole business is something I shall never understand.
Oh, forget it. By next week, you'll be over the whole thing.
Mother!
Yes, Henry?
Have you any idea where my trousers might be?
I thought you were all dressed.
I am, Father. All but my trousers. They seem to be missing.
Where did you wear them last?
I think it was when I went to the movies.
Don't tell me you left your trousers at the movies.
Wear your brown trousers, dear.
My brown trousers? But Mother, Connie doesn't like those.
She even tells him what clothes to wear. The next thing you know, they'll be announcing their engagement.
It may be of interest for you to know that this is not one bit funny.
But, Mother, I think it would be all right with Constance.
How do you know?
I heard her tell Henry only the other day that she believes in long engagements.
Well, this would have to be a good long one because Henry still has a year and a half of high school and 6 years of college before he even begins to practice law.
She may even talk him out of becoming a lawyer.
Mary, you certainly are cheerful this morning.
Mother, look out through the window. Look at what I see.
Constance Marshall.
Constance Marshall?
She even comes here for breakfast now.
Well, they selected a very excellent name for that child.
Hello, Mary.
Hello.
I wondered whether you'd like to have me walk to school with you.
Come on in, Constance.
I guess you know my father, don't you?
How do you do?
How do you do?
My goodness, Mr. Aldrich, you look like Henry.
I?
Only, of course, an awful lot older.
Yes.
Shall we start now, Constance?
Has Henry left yet?
Not yet.
Where is he?
We have no idea where he is.
You mean, Mr. Aldrich, Henry has left home?
Apparently he has.
Constance, Henry's upstairs.
We only think he's upstairs. No one in the family has seen him. We have simply heard sounds that might have come from Hen-ree.
Henry! Henry?
You see? What did I tell you?
Is somebody calling me?
There's somebody down here to see you.
Who is it, Mother?
Oh, somebody.
You mean to see me?
Yes.
Oh, I know who it is. It's Stinky Cameron. Hi, Stinky.
Henry.
I'll be down just as soon as I find my pants.
Henry, it's not Stinky, and even if it were, I don't think you should call him that.
Oh, he doesn't mind. Now you Stinky.
Hen-ree!
Father, Tom, to come on up and help me find my pants.
Henry, you're disgracing the entire family.
In fact, it might interest you to know that Constance is down here.
Yeah? So's General Grant.
Hello, Henry.
Well, gee whiz, where did you come from, Connie?
Home.
Well, why didn't anybody tell me? I'll be right down.
Henry, have you got your trousers on?
Oh, no, I'm glad you spoke about that. Excuse me.
You'd better be starting, Constance.
Oh, we've got loads of time, Mary.
Not unless you want to be as late as Henry is. Goodbye, Mother. Goodbye, Father.
Goodbye, Mary.
Goodbye, Mr. Aldrich.
Goodbye. Charming young woman.
Oh, my goodness, Sam, I hope he'll get over it.
You must remember, however, that someday somebody is going to marry that young woman.
But it certainly isn't going to be Henry.
It would be just our luck to have it be Hen-ree.
Wait for me, Mary. Wait for me.
They've left Henry.
They left without me?
Well, of course.
Well, goodbye, everybody.
Come back here and eat your breakfast.
But, Mother, do you want me to run right on top of a hearty meal?
I want you to come back to this table.
Where did you find your trousers?
That's the strangest part of it. I found them on a chair in my room.
On a chair.
Yeah.
Henry, where did you meet this Constance?
I was a fine next to her.
Henry, don't you think you should swallow your food before you talk?
Yes, Mother. I'll answer you in just a minute, Father. There. I was assigned next to her.
In what way?
My seat. My seat in assembly.
Oh, I see.
Why were you asking?
I was just wondering, what does her father do?
He's an exterminator.
He's a what?
Just a minute. He's an exterminator.
An exterminator?
No matter what you have, even if it's rats, you call him and he'll get rid of them.
Henry.
That's right, Mother. He'll get rid of any kind of pest there is.
He has never shown any disfavor toward his daughter?
Don't you like Constance?
Henry, in the past, your father and I have always permitted you to know anyone you wanted to. But somehow we don't care for this Connie.
Why not, Mother?
Well, putting it bluntly, you're much too nice for her.
Oh, Mother, don't be absurd. Well, until she came along, I didn't care how I looked. Now look at me. Remember that bunch of hair that always used to stand up? Now I keep it combed down.
And to tell you the truth, I miss that lock of hair. I miss it very much.
You don't think I look improved?
Oh, Henry, dear, when are you coming to your senses?
In what way, Mother?
Well, for 1 week now, you haven't touched your homework. You can't eat your meals.
Well, I don't need food.
Whatever became of Barbara Pearson?
Barbara Pearson.
Of course.
Well, she was all right when I was young, Mother.
You, grew old 7 days ago?
I certainly changed since then.
In what way, aside from putting Vaseline on your hair?
In a lot of ways, Father.
Well, just remember, son, we wouldn't have you lose your head for anything. Is that clear?
Yes, Father.
Now run on to school.
Yes, sir. Only you've got the wrong idea about Constance.
I'm quite sure one of us has.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. So long.
Sam Aldrich, I'm worried sick.
Alice, you're worrying about something that's absurd.
Sam, I didn't want to say anything about it before. I usually don't read anything that belongs to Henry, but I picked up a note Constance wrote him, and, Sam, she isn't his kind.
Why didn't you tell me there was more to it?
Well, what I want to know is what we should do.
Give him some castor oil and send him to bed.
Well, that's what I thought you'd say. I know what I am going to do.
What?
I'm going to handle this the way the psychologists say a parent should.
Now, Alice, if I were you, I wouldn't start fooling around with psychology at a time like this.
But it's common sense, Sam. If we forbid his seeing the girl, it's simply a challenge. So the thing for us to do is to tell him that he may see her just as much as he wants to.
Which is what he's doing anyhow.
But we should invite her to dinner, Sam.
Invite her here to dinner?
Well, of course. If he sees enough of her, he'll grow tired of her.
You hope he will.
I'm sure he will. And on next Saturday night, we're having her and some of his other friends here for dinner.
Hiya, Connie.
Henry, do you like my dress?
Yeah, it's very pretty. I've got to see who's at the door.
Oh, I let them in. It was George Bigelow and some other girls.
Oh.
Henry, let Connie straighten your tie.
You always yank it so tight. The other night, I had to go to sleep with it on.
Oh, how do you do, Mrs. Aldrich?
How do you do, Constance? We're very glad you could come.
How do you do?
You'll find my family in the living room. Papa has to leave early.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
He's got to go on a big job for somebody.
You don't say so.
This is the third time he's been there. He just nicely gets them out, and they always come back.
Sam, come along.
Henry, wait and talk to Connie.
Yeah, I've got to go and see my guests.
Are they more important than poor little I?
No, but I ought to go in and say hello to them.
Henry, look at me. Oh, you've got the bluest eyes Connie has ever seen in her life.
Yeah?
Oh.
Excuse me for interrupting.
Oh.
Got something in your eye, Henry?
Gee whiz, Mrs. Sanderson.
Hello, Henry. Henry, you didn't tell me Barbara was coming.
No.
Well, I understood this party was for me. I'm going in the other room and tell your mother what I think of it, Henry Aldrich.
Henry, I know I shouldn't have come. Even if your mother did say I should.
But I'm glad to have you. I'm glad to have both of you.
No, I'm not staying. I just came to make sure she got here. Where's your mother?
In the next room.
I'll just slip in and say hello. See whether maybe there's a little candy around.
Well, I see Constance has been fixing your tie again.
How can you tell?
It looks so nice. Doesn't look like you.
No?
When I came in, she was just going to straighten your eyes for you, I guess. Wasn't she?
Listen, Barbara, please.
Henry, would you mind very much if I went home?
Henry, aren't you going to come in and join your guests?
Yes, Father, we're coming.
George Bigelow says he hasn't even seen you.
George Bigelow. Henry, I can't go in there.
Why not?
Because I can't. Please let me go, Henry.
But I want you to stay.
Henry, I've got to tell you. Those telephone calls I had from George, they weren't from George at all.
Well, who were they from?
Nobody. I just did it to make you jealous.
Was that your grandmother's idea?
No. It was mine. Wasn't it ridiculous?
Barbara, come in here. They got cakes with every kind of icing you can think of.
No.
Henry, your mother wants you.
I'll be there.
She wants you now, right away.
Yeah, but can't she wait a second?
No. Now then, young lady, if you want Henry Aldrich, you will stay here where you can keep an eye on him.
I'm not going to stay.
You want to upset me even more than I already am?
I can't help it. I'm going home.
Barbara, wait.
No.
Oh, you've got to come in, dear. It wouldn't be a party without you.
Why not?
For any number of reasons.
But look at my eyes. They're a sight.
Tears, my dear, only make you prettier. I know from experience.
Do you really think so?
Sam. Well? You been asleep yet?
Of course.
I've been thinking about that party. And you said I didn't understand psychology.
Well, I didn't say that. I said you were taking a gamble.
Just think we won't have to worry about that awful Constance Marshall or the idea of Henry's ever giving up law or getting engaged before he leaves high school.
I guess things usually work out for the best. Just
Provided
naturally.
you give him a little assistance. By the way, have you heard Henry come in yet?
Don't believe I have.
Oh, my goodness, what time is it?
It's, by the clock on the bureau, it's 10 minutes to 2.
Sam Aldrich, Henry has never stayed out this late before in his life.
I thought you weren't going to worry anymore.
Oh!
Henry, is that you?
Yes.
Where have you been, Hen-ree?
No place. I just walked home with Barbara, and then I had to wait until her grandmother went to bed.
Come in here and say goodnight to us.
I want to thank you for the swell party. Barbara said she had a very nice time.
Sit down here on the edge of the bed.
Henry, you're sitting right on my ankle.
Well, I'm sorry, Father. I didn't know it was there.
Where did you think it would be?
Henry, move your head over toward the light from the door.
What for?
Oh, Henry, I could almost cry.
Why?
That old lock of hair. It's standing straight up again.
Yeah. She lets me wear my necktie so I can breathe, too. Mother, would you mind my asking right from the shoulder?
What, dear?
Well, would you and Father be disappointed if I didn't study 6 years to become a lawyer?
Why not?
Oh, no particular reason, Father. Just asking.
Henry Aldrich, you aren't thinking of getting married, are you?
Oh, no, Mother, no. We think you should wait until you're at least through high school. Don't you?
Well, Alice, you certainly understand psychology.
Ladies and gentlemen, once there was a husband who was very fussy about his desserts. He liked puddings, but only the kind of puddings that his wife made for him. Well, of course, it's a lot of work to make good puddings, so this man's wife decided to play a little trick on him. What happened? Well, the wife who wrote us about this is right here in person, Mrs. Florence C., who lives at 25 Hillside Avenue, Washington Heights, New York City. Here's your letter, Mrs. C. Would you read us the rest of what you wrote, please?
Certainly, Mr. Von Zell. I decided to try Jell-O chocolate pudding. It only took me a few minutes to whisk it up, and when supper time came, there it was, a big bowl full of rich, creamy, smooth chocolate pudding. Well, my husband came right back for the second helping. Said it was the most delicious pudding I had ever made. So then I told him about it. Told him that I had used the new Jell-O chocolate pudding. He had to admit it surely was a success, every bit as delicious as the old-fashioned kind.
Well, thank you very much, Mrs. C. And ladies, that is the way to make a hit with your husband, too. For the new Jell-O puddings have that real old-fashioned goodness. Creamy, smooth, full-flavored, and tempting. But they're far quicker and easier to make. There are 3 delicious Jell-O puddings to choose from. Rich chocolate, mellow butterscotch, and creamy, delicate vanilla. Yes, you like all 3 new Jell-O puddings. Real old-fashioned puddings made a new-fashioned way. So try them tomorrow.
Barbara,
Yes, Henry.
are you sure your grandmother's gone to bed?
Thank heavens she has.
Well, do you mind my asking you something?
What is it, Henry?
What, would you like to go to a football game with me Saturday?
Of course I would, Henry.
If you go, Henry, I give you the money to get a seat for me.
Well, Grandma's in again. But be sure to tune in again next week for further adventures of Hen-ree Al-drich. The Aldrich Family, starring Ezra Stone, is written by Clifford Goldsmith. Tonight's special guest was Betty Field, star of the stage and screenplay What a Life. And she'll be back with us again next week. Original music is composed and conducted by Jack Miller. Harry Von Zell speaking and wishing you good night for those delicious new desserts all America's talking about. Jell-O pudding.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Coming, Mother.
The Aldrich Family, starring Ezra Stone, written by Clifford Goldsmith. Brought to you by the makers of those delicious new desserts all America's talking about. Jell-O puddings. In the month of February, you know, fall the birthdays of 2 great American presidents. We don't know, of course, whether Hen-ree Al-drich will ever become president, but as the scene opens tonight in the Aldrich family living room, Hen-ree has a birthday and other things on his mind.
Mother, if you could choose anything in the world for your birthday, what would you take?
$1 million.
No, Mother, be reasonable. I can't give you as much as that. What would you like?
Right at the moment, Henry, your mother would like a mink coat.
A mink coat, Father? A mink coat?
Mm-hmm.
How much would a thing like that cost?
How much do you have?
$2.35. Oh, but that's not important, Father.
No, not at all.
But it isn't. I've got a scheme all worked out. I'll be able to get anything Mother wants.
Really, dear?
It isn't anything more than you deserve, Mother. Could you loan me $2?
To which one of us are you speaking?
Oh, not to you, Father. I realize I've stretched you to the breaking point as it is.
I'm glad you're aware of that.
How about it, Mother?
How about what, dear?
In case you don't know it, Alice, you're about to be stretched to the breaking point.
What is it you want the $2 for?
To put with the money I have. I'm making an investment. I read a pamphlet, see? It's got the easiest way I ever heard of to make money.
What is it?
Rabbits.
I beg your pardon?
Raising rabbits. They'll double your money overnight.
You don't say so.
But they will, Father. You can't lose.
Where would we keep rabbits?
In the basement.
Well, we're not keeping rabbits in our basement.
Read the pamphlet, Mother. One fella started with just 4 rabbits, and in 2 years, he had 700.
And do you think we're going to have 700 rabbits running all over our basement?
Well, I'd make pens for them.
And how would I get into the basement?
Do you remember, Henry, that stray dog that stayed here last week? I had to ask you to feed her every day she was with us.
But that was just one, Mother. I certainly wouldn't forget to feed 700.
Incidentally, who's going to pay for the feed for 700?
Oh, they pay for it themselves.
Oh, I see. Out of their own pockets?
Father, everything I suggest you take lightly.
Well, if you think I'm taking this lightly, you're quite mistaken. You're not going to spend any money on rabbits.
But that's not what I want it for.
Oh, I thought that was what you did want it for.
No, Mother, it's to buy some galvanized feeding pans.
What was that?
Feeding pans for the rabbits.
For what rabbits?
For my rabbits, the ones I've got down in the cellar.
You have 700 down there?
No, Father, just 4. I'm only beginning. They're beauties, too.
Where did you get them, dear?
Happy Taylor gave them to me.
How did the tailor boy happen to do that?
I don't know. His folks just seem to think we'd like them better than they would.
Yes.
How would you like to be generous, dear, and give them back to Happy Taylor?
Mother, don't you want a birthday present?
Not as much as I want a home.
Well, if I give those back, I won't have anything at all.
How about your dog?
He left.
Because of the rabbits?
But, Father, don't you want me to develop responsibility so I'll take care of things and feed them?
Henry, we are not opposed to your developing all the responsibility you want to, but you'll have to find someone to take those rabbits.
Who is there?
Well, how about Tommy Walsh? He has a much larger house than we have.
Well, could I give him the rabbits but let him keep them here?
And your mother and I could live with the Walshes, eh?
Father, you have no idea how I've planned on this.
Supposing you go to the phone, dear, and see whether Tommy wouldn't like to have them.
Now?
Henry, if you want a rabbit for a pet, that's one thing. But you're not going to raise rabbits in our basement for the purpose of making money. Now, please call the Walshes.
I'll phone them, but I hope they aren't in.
Well, Alice, in 1 year we would have had rabbits in every room in the house.
Sam, don't you think we might at least get Henry a dog?
Alice, by tomorrow you'll have forgotten the whole thing.
Perhaps.
He never has kept it anything for more than 24 hours.
Well, just the same, he might have kept it this.
You mean you want him to raise rabbits?
Well, as he says, it would develop character.
Alice, let's have an understanding right now. Which do you want Henry to have, character or a father?
A father, dear. Who do you suppose that can be at the door?
Probably Mr. Hubbard. I'll let him in. Well, hello there, Hubbard.
Evening. What is it you want repaired?
Oh, the trouble's out in the kitchen. Pipe under the sink.
Hi there, Mr. Hubbard.
Evening.
Oh, Henry, will you take Mr. Hubbard out and show him where that leak is?
Sure thing.
Henry, what did Tommy Walsh say about the rabbits?
His folks weren't in. But he'd be very glad to take them, Mother. This way, Mr. Hubbard.
Yes, sir. You, raise rabbits?
I was going to. Here you are. There's the pipe that's dripping.
Don't know whether I have a wrench that'll fit that or not.
Want me to look in your bag for you?
Yeah, no, thank you. It's a good thing you're getting out of this rabbit business.
Don't you recommend it?
I'd be a rich man now if it weren't for rabbits.
What happened?
By the time it was over, even my wife left me.
Yeah? Do you want me to hold the screwdriver for you?
Will you just put it down, please?
Sure.
I raised beavers once, too.
Make a lot of money on them?
That was the second time my wife left me.
Well, did she ever come back?
She did, and she got even with me.
How?
She went in for raising turkeys.
She make a lot of money?
That was when I left her.
I see. Well, tell me, did you ever raise silver foxes?
Just for one winter. Now, there was an experience.
Yeah?
If you want to make money real quick, though, the thing to do is raise pigeons.
Pigeons?
Yeah. That's what I'm going to put every cent I've got into.
Is that right?
Yes, sir. Once I get it going, I'm giving up plumbing.
Want me to hold that nut?
Just leave your hands off it.
Yes, sir.
I figured out there's 300% profit in every pigeon you raise.
As much as that? What do you sell them for? Eating purposes?
Don't raise that kind. I tried them once. Had to eat them all myself.
Well, what kind do you raise?
Carriers.
Carriers? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
The kind that get back home no matter where you take them, huh?
Yeah. Where's my hammer?
Oh, let's see. Oh, here it is.
Leave it there. I'll pick it up.
Yes.
I knew a fellow once that raised carrier pigeons and sold them to the Army.
Is that what you're going to do?
Yep, and put them in races. That's where you make the real money. Sometimes you win as much as $5 or $10.
Gee whiz, I didn't know anything like that was going on. Oh, what is it you're looking for, Mr. Hubbard?
A pair of pliers. Just let me look for them myself.
Do you mind if I point to them?
Where are they? Oh, yeah.
Gee, there's a business I'd like to go in.
What's stopping you?
Well, do pigeons take up very much room in a cellar?
What are you going to keep them in the cellar for? Why don't you keep them in your attic?
Gee, how do they get along in an attic?
No, all you got to do is fix up some coops and be sure the windows are left open.
I wonder why I didn't think of that myself. Want your 2-euro bag, Mr. Hubbard?
Put it right back where it was.
Yes. How much would it cost to go into the pigeon business, Mr. Hubbard?
Get your head out of the way.
Is that better?
Yeah, just keep it out.
I guess you don't need any expensive equipment like you do for rabbits, huh?
All you need is some second-hand coops.
Where could I get those?
Any reason you couldn't advertise in the morning paper?
You mean advertise? I just say I want some second-hand pigeon coops, and that's all?
What else would you suggest?
Sure, and I'd save money. Unless, of course, nobody answered. But then the way I look at it, you've got to take a gamble at anything if you want to make money. Isn't that the way you look at it, Mr. Hubbard?
Well,
Hey, what are you doing out here?
Well, I'm helping Mr. Hubbard find his tools, Mother. Could you please stand back so you don't cast a shadow on him?
Oh, my goodness. The way you've been talking out here, I thought you'd have all the problems of the world settled.
Have you heard us?
Well, I haven't heard what it was about.
What time does the Centerville Gazette close?
Oh, I have no idea.
They're open till pretty late.
They are?
Why do you ask, dear?
Oh, no reason. I was just wondering how long they stay open. Is Father around in the living room any place?
Your father went out.
Is that right? He went out?
Mr. Hubbard, will I be in your way here?
No, ma'am.
Well, goodbye.
Where are you going, Henry?
Just in the living room. Look around. Operator, could you get me the Centerville Gazette, please? Yes, ma'am.
Henry, are you in the living room?
I think I am, Mother.
Mr. Hubbard wants to know whether you picked up his screwdriver.
Tell him he'll find it in his left hip pocket.
Thank you.
Hello? Oh, how do I put in an advertisement? Coops. Just ordinary pigeon coops. Yeah, that sounds good.
Sign it Hen-ree W. Aldrich. Yeah. About how much will that be? As much as that? Well, would it be cheaper if I left the W out? Well, supposing I leave the Hen-ree out. Okay. Just say, reasonable prices paid for old pigeon coops. Sign it Aldrich. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Goodbye.
Henry, will you see us at the door, please?
Yes, Mother. I'd be very glad to help you, Mother. Gee whiz, Tommy, you over here already?
I came over to get my rabbits.
Yeah, come on in. Did you ask your folks whether it'd be all right?
I don't know why it wouldn't be all right. Why should I worry them about a little thing like that?
Yeah, well, come on down the cellar stairs.
Why don't you want them, Henry?
My folks would rather I raise pigeons.
Pigeons?
Sure. I've become a pigeon fancier.
Yeah?
Sure. I may even raise pigeons for the Army. Big money in it, Tommy.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. For the Department of Interior Communications.
Yeah?
Your rabbits are around here on the other side of the preserve closet.
Oh, show them to me.
Now, listen, before I let you see them, when do I get that who's it you promised me on the telephone?
Oh, tomorrow, Henry. I couldn't bring it over tonight.
Okay. Oh, here they are in this box.
Look at them.
That's what I say. Can you beat that?
Well, what's the matter?
They're 8 here. Can you imagine that, huh?
But all I want is 4.
You gotta take 8.
I haven't got room for 8. I'm gonna have trouble keeping just 4 in my closet.
Well, you should have gotten here sooner, Tommy.
Well, this certainly isn't my fault.
Henry, is that Tommy down there?
Yes, Mother, that's Tommy.
Is he taking all 4 of the rabbits?
Yes, Mother.
I'm certainly glad to hear that, dear.
Tommy, when we go up, don't say anything about the 4 I'm keeping.
Why not?
Maybe I can surprise my mother after all. Boy, am I going to make money. Rabbits in our basement and pigeons in our attic.
Our scene shifts for the next moment, ladies and gentlemen, to a department store where we clear up the mystery of the lady...
Good evening.
...and the gong. Behind a counter on the 5th floor, lamps, china, curtains, drapes, rugs, house furnishings, and so forth, there stands a clerk. Approaching him is the lady who says...
Last week I bought a piece of merchandise in this department. I have it here with me. It's a dinner gong.
Yes, madam?
You see, I used to have a lot of trouble every night getting my husband and the children to the dinner table. They'd keep right on reading the paper or listening to the radio or whatever else they were doing when I called them. So I bought this gong.
An excellent idea, madam.
But now I want to return it, if I may.
Well, is anything wrong with it, madam? Let's have a look at it. Sounds all right to me.
Oh, the gong's all right. But recently I've been serving Jell-O chocolate pudding for dinner. Now when I start to ring the gong, my husband and the children are sitting at the table before I get a chance to hit it.
And the very delicious moral to that story is, ladies and gentlemen, folks certainly do get to the table and get there in a hurry when they know there's Jell-O chocolate pudding for dessert. Because, friends, it's a grand treat that everybody loves, young and old alike. Nothing can compare with its rich, creamy smoothness and its thrilling chocolate flavor. And you'll be simply delighted to find how quickly and easily you can prepare Jell-O chocolate pudding, how inexpensive it is, and how many different and delicious desserts you can make with it. So try it tomorrow, why don't you? Start right away to treat the folks at your house to this new family favorite. Swell, luscious, easy to eat Jell-O chocolate pudding. Now, getting back to the problems of Hen-ree Al-drich. Without telling his parents, Henry has inserted an advertisement in the town paper and signed it with the name Aldrich. The scene opens the following day in his father's office.
Miss Thompson, I don't have a great deal of time. Will you take a letter in a hurry, please?
Yes, Mr. Aldrich.
To the Brown Realty Company. Dear Mr. Brown, this is to advise you that unless steps are taken at once...
Mr. Aldrich's office? Yes? Yes? No, sir, you must have the wrong number, I'm afraid.
Wrong number?
Yes, sir. Now then, you just started a letter to the Brown Realty Company. Dear Mr. Brown, this is to advise you that unless steps are taken at once...
Yes. This is to advise you that unless steps are taken at once...
Mr. Aldrich's office? What was that? I don't understand you. Say that slowly, please. One moment. Mr. Aldrich, somebody wants to talk to you about something.
Let me have it. Samuel Aldrich speaking. What number are you calling? Pigeon Coops? Did you say Pigeon Coops? Well, my name is Aldrich. I'm the only Aldrich in town, but I don't buy pigeon coops. Who is this talking? Charlie? Oh, you can't fool me, Charlie. Now, listen, Charlie, I'm busy as the deuce right now. I'll give you a call later. Don't bother me. Goodbye. Charlie Goslin would try to be funny just when I'm trying to get my work done. Tried to make me think his name was Tony Vecchito.
To be quite honest, Mr. Aldrich, I never did like Mr. Goslin.
Well, we get a lot of business from him. Now then, where were we?
This is to advise you that unless steps are taken at once...
Is that all the farther we got?
It is.
Unless steps are taken at once... What was it I was going to say?
I have no idea.
Oh, I remember. Toward improving the property occupied by my... Let me answer that. Sam Aldrich speaking. Who? Yes, Charlie. Still selling pigeon coops? We'll take all 15. No. Yes, deliver them right to our house. I don't care where you put them. Put them in the living room. Yes, and don't bother me anymore. Just because Charlie Goslin happens to be a client. How far are we?
Right where we were.
Yes. You know, it would be just like Charlie to go and find 15 pigeon coops and deliver them to our house. I remember one other practical joke he tried to play off. Miss Thompson, please answer that. If it's Charlie again, tell him I've gone for the day.
Hello? Yes, sir. One moment, please, Mr. Aldrich. It's the Centerville Feed Company. They want to know whether they may supply you with cracked corn.
For what?
One moment. Hello? Mr. Aldrich wants to know what he would use cracked corn for. No, Mr. Aldrich has not changed his business. He's still practicing law. Goodbye.
Cracked corn? Did that sound like Charlie Goslin?
My suspicion is that was Mr. Goslin.
Oh, no. He probably phoned the Centerville Feed Company and told them to call here. Now, unless steps are taken at once to him... Who's at the door?
You, Mr. Aldrich?
I am.
About how many pigeon coops did you want?
I beg your pardon?
How many did you want?
Did you say pigeon coops?
Pigeon coop. A paw can let you have all you need up to 60.
May I ask who sent you here?
I don't know. My paw just told me to come up here.
Where is your paw?
Down in front. Had a parked double. We got all 60 down there.
You have 60 pigeon coops down in front for me?
Sure. You want them brought up here?
To the office? No.
You can also fix you up with 60 feeding trays.
No, I'll answer the phone.
Now then, young man, may I ask how your father happened to come here?
I don't know.
Do you know a gentleman by the name of Charles Goslin?
Never heard of him.
Well, here's what you're to do. You're to deliver your confounded coops to Mr. Goslin's residence at 12 Church Street.
All 60?
All 60, and all 60 feeding trays.
Who pays for them?
Send the bill to Mr. Goslin.
Sure. Take them over right away.
That's fine.
Mr. Aldrich, Mrs. Aldrich is on the phone.
What does she want?
There's a gentleman by the name of Vecchito at your house unloading pigeon coops. He insists upon leaving them in the living room.
Now I know it was Charlie.
Mrs. Aldrich says he had nothing to do with it.
Well, then the fellow must be insane.
That's why she says you're to come over.
Yes. Where's my hat and coat? Right in the middle of the busiest day I ever had. If anyone else calls, Miss Thompson, I've left.
Hello, Father.
Hello.
Could I speak to you just a minute?
You may not. Goodbye.
Well, what do you know about that? Miss Thompson, is he in a hurry over something?
He is. And if I were you, I wouldn't follow him.
Miss Thompson could...
I've got to answer the phone.
Where's Sam Aldrich?
He just went out.
I've got exactly what he wants outside on my truck.
What is it?
8 of the darlingest pigeon coops you ever put your 2 eyes on.
Well, gee whiz, could you haul them over to my house?
And why not?
Well, I don't think anyone's home.
Oh, now you take the coops, and I'll give you a dozen fine birds to go with them.
You will?
I will that.
Gee whiz, I'll be getting an even better start than I thought I would. Let's go.
For the last time, please put the rest of your coops on your wagon and get away from the front of my house.
You know advertise?
I did not advertise.
The lady, she know advertise?
I did not advertise. No one in this house advertised. We couldn't have.
That's a funny thing. And my wife, she's a read it to me out the loud.
What you probably did was to misunderstand the name.
What's your name?
Aldrich.
Aldrich, that's all right. I'm a telephone to him. He's a say, sure, so bring him me 15 of coops.
All right, I'll admit that I'm the one who answered the phone, but I thought you were somebody else.
I'll meet the his price.
No, I thought you were a friend by the name of Charlie.
I'll sell the... What's a Charlie got to do with it?
Now listen, my friend. For the last time, put that final crate on your wagon and get away from here.
All right. I'm going to go home and read the ad. You sure you know one of these coops are cheap?
Get out.
All right. Giddy up, please. Goodbye, and maybe I see you tomorrow.
No.
Well, thank goodness he's gone.
Oh, you know, Alice, I honestly believe the fellow's crazy. Did you hear him? He practically insisted that we advertised.
Father, take a look.
What is it, Hen-ree?
What I've got right here in this truck, pigeon coops.
Where did you get those?
They're for my pigeons.
How are you, Sam Aldrich? Could you give me a hand, Hen-ree boy?
Sure.
Hey, 1 minute. Henry, are you unloading those here?
Sure.
Oh, down with them, me son.
Hey, wait before you unload that.
Oh, it's not too heavy, Father.
There you are.
What's that I hear?
Now, for 3 years, I've been wanting to show you me gratitude, Sam.
Mulligan, I'm sorry, but we have no place here for those pigeons.
But, Father, they aren't costing us a cent. We're getting them absolutely free.
What do you mean?
Mr. Mulligan has very kindly consented to credit the coops toward a bill he owes Father.
What was that?
Don't you think that's fair, Father?
Henry, will you and Mr. Mulligan please put that crate back on the truck?
You mean you don't want them?
I do not.
Oh, but it's 3 years I've been owing you that bill, Sam. Don't you think it's about time it was paid?
Sam?
If you'll take those crates away, I'll call the whole thing paid.
Oh, now, that's very decent of you, Sam. Give me a hand, me boy.
But, Father, I need them.
Henry, do you want me to put that on for you?
I'll help him.
You're a gentleman, Sam Aldrich. And the next time I come into town, I'll bring your son a present.
But not pigeons or pigeon coops.
Oh, no, sir, not pigeons. I'll bring him a fine white nanny goat I have.
You will?
You will not.
Well, good day to you all.
Gee whiz. Now I've even lost what I paid for the ad.
For the ad? For what ad?
For coops, didn't I tell you?
Let's go into the house, Henry. I want to have a talk with you.
I know what you're going to say.
Oh, I wouldn't cry right out here on the sidewalk, Hen-ree.
I'm not crying. Who's crying?
Well, you're disappointed, dear, but the next time you do anything like this, you must tell us.
Of course. We may not have room for pigeons any more than we had for rabbits, but we'll find something you can have.
The only thing is I need pigeon coops. I need them bad.
Oh, today you need them, but by tomorrow you'll have forgotten all about them.
Sam, what's that?
What was what?
Something just flew out of our attic window.
Out of which window?
That was one of my pigeons.
One of what pigeons?
That Mr. Hubbard gave me.
That he gave you? How many did he give you?
Just 6. 2 of them are up there setting.
In our attic?
It would be all right if they had a coop, Father.
Hen-ree Al-drich.
Henry, could I see you a minute?
What about, Tommy? What have you got in the box there?
Your rabbits. My mother and father won't let me keep them.
What are you doing, returning all 4 of them?
All 4 of them? There are 10 of them.
Can you imagine?
Henry, we can't possibly take those.
But, Mother, the ones I have don't bother you any, do they?
The ones you have?
Yeah, the ones in the preserve closet.
Henry!
Look who's coming. It's Towser. Oh, my old dog Towser. Well, gee whiz.
And where are you going to keep him,
Oh,
Henry?
he can sleep at the foot of my bed.
Listen, Henry, I want my who's it back that I gave you for the rabbits.
Oh, no, that was a bargain, Tommy.
You've got to give it back.
Give what back?
My snake.
What's that?
No, he gave me that snake.
Henry, why should you want an old dead snake?
But, Mother, it isn't dead. It's alive.
Oh, where is it?
Where is it?
Yes.
It's in my top bureau drawer.
Hen-ree Al-drich!
Hen-ree Al-drich will be back again in just a moment. Folks, tomorrow night, why not treat yourself to one of those popular new Jell-O puddings you've been hearing so much about? Let's say a grand, tempting dish of Jell-O vanilla pudding, dressed up perhaps with a handful of rich nuts or raisins. Now, there is a truly fine dessert, one that has no rival when it comes to smooth, creamy goodness. Every time you enjoy it, which is sure to be often, you'll find yourself more excited than ever about the delectable flavor of Jell-O vanilla pudding. Because there's nothing to equal its delightful taste, so delicate and yet marvelously mellow. It's a quick, easy, inexpensive dessert, a captivating climax to any meal. So make tomorrow night's dinner end on a truly festive note by serving the family this luscious treat. You'll add a new name on your list of favorite desserts the very first time you enjoy the rare, distinctive goodness of Jell-O vanilla pudding.
You know, Tommy, I just had a big idea.
What about, Henry?
We can make some money on these pigeons. We can clean up.
How?
All we have to do is put another ad in the paper. The only trouble is, though, we'll have to put it in your father's name.
Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, in the event you would like to see Henry's latest advertisement, you will find it only in next week's issue of Centerville's leading paper. The Aldrich Family, starring Ezra Stone, is written by Clifford Goldsmith. Original music for the program is composed and conducted by Jack Miller. By the way, Ezra Stone will appear as Hen-ree Al-drich at the State Theater in Hartford, Connecticut for 4 days beginning February 22nd. Now, this is Harry Von Zell speaking and wishing you good night for those delicious new desserts all America's talking about. Jell-O pudding.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Hen-ree Al-drich.
Coming, Mother.
The Aldrich Family, starring Ezra Stone, written by Clifford Goldsmith. Brought to you by the makers of those delicious new desserts all America's talking about. Jell-O pudding. In the town of Centerville, most of the residents are ready for March to come in like a lion and go out like a lamb. But in the Aldrich family home on Elm Street, these traditional animals have been relegated to the background. For Hen-ree Al-drich has real rabbits hopping around the basement and live pigeons flapping about the attic. Our scene tonight opens in Henry's room with Mrs. Aldrich speaking to her son.
Do you want this broken fountain pen, dear?
Yes, Mother.
You want this piece of lead pipe?
Yes, Mother.
Will you tell me what on earth for?
Mother, please. I want everything in my desk.
But, Henry, your desk is a sight.
Let me explain something. Right this minute, I'm very busy. But the first time I'm not busy, I'll clean it out.
You've been saying that for 6 months.
But, gee whiz, when you get through, I won't know where anything is.
What are you saving this ticket to the World's Fair for?
I might use it.
But it's to the Chicago World's Fair. It was over several years ago.
Yeah, I know it's to the Chicago World's Fair. Even if I don't use it, I'd like to have it for a souvenir.
What about these 3 pieces of rock?
Mother, I brought all those back from Vermont last summer. I carried them back purposely. Where did you put them?
In this lower drawer.
Well, there's a very good example of what I'm trying to tell you. Supposing I should suddenly need those rocks in a hurry. I'd have to go through everything I own.
Henry, you're exactly like your grandmother.
Alice, are you in Henry's room?
Yes, Sam.
Did you want me, Father?
Oh, no, Henry. Alice, I realize you've wanted a maid for some time and that we now finally have one. But I do wish you'd ask her not to go in that spare room I used to work in.
What's happened now?
She's just gone through the place like a tornado. She's taken half the things off my desk.
The fact is, dear, I cleaned out your desk.
You cleaned it out?
Of course.
Well, what did you do with my pen?
I put it in the pen holder.
What did you put it there for?
My goodness, Sam, don't you want Martha to have any respect for us?
Respect for us? After all, are we hiring her or is she hiring us?
But, dear, she's the only maid I've ever had, and this is her first day here. And your room looked almost as bad as the room Henry keeps his rabbits in down in the cellar.
Mother, do we have to tell her about my rabbits?
Whether we do or not, Henry, I think you'd better be prepared for the day when she finds them.
Well, couldn't you put it up to her? Just tell her that if the rabbits will stay in their room and Father will stay in his, wouldn't she be happy?
Incidentally, who changed the blotter on my desk?
I did.
Well, I didn't want to see it thrown out. I like that old blotter.
All right, dear. Go it down and get it out of the trash barrel. If you want to, you may sleep with it under your pillow. But I certainly hope you won't let Martha see it.
Unfortunately, it had all my telephone numbers written on it.
What do you want done with this Canadian penny, Henry?
I might go to Canada sometime.
Miss Aldrich?
Yes, Martha?
Mr. Aldrich in here?
I'm right here, Martha.
Mr. Aldrich, somebody wants you downstairs at the front door.
Gentlemen?
He's sort of a gentleman.
Well, did you ask him to step inside?
Yes. Miss Aldrich, could I take up some of your time for something?
What is it, Martha?
I don't like to complain, but frankly, when I come to you this morning, you said there was only 4 in the family.
Well, that's all there are.
But how about all those rabbits down in the cellar?
Rabbits, Martha?
Yes, but didn't anybody know they was down there?
Of course we knew they were down there, but
Martha, don't you like rabbits?
My brother kept rabbits once, and frankly, I got awful tired of them.
But they don't ever come upstairs and get in your way, do they?
Not yet, but 2 of them's working their way toward the cellar stairs.
Martha, we're not keeping those rabbits always. Henry's simply going to raise them and then sell them very soon.
Do they stay here at night?
Oh, yes, they like it here very much.
Alice!
Yes, Sam?
Could you come down here, please?
Right away.
I ain't going to stay here with them rabbits.
Martha, why don't you look at it this way? You know how lucky a rabbit's foot is?
The rabbits my brother had, it was always just a lot of work.
How long did you live with your brother?
Frankly, just a little while. I tried, but I couldn't get myself adjusted to them.
But very few people get to like a rabbit right away, Martha. But once you get to know those I have, you'll say, gee whiz, thanks, Henry, for letting me get to know them.
Well, I'll finish out today, but I can't stay any longer than that.
Look, Martha, is there anything I could give you to make it worth your while?
Like what?
Well, I could give you part of my allowance each week.
How much would that be?
Well, I could give you 20 cents of it.
20 cents?
And I'll do all the work that's in connection with the rabbits. Gee whiz, Martha, isn't that a bargain?
Frankly, I wouldn't be interested.
Would you be interested in 20 cents a week in your choice of anything in my desk here?
What you got?
Well, gee, I got a million things. How about a Canadian penny?
How many you got?
Well, just one. But don't let that mislead you. It's only a penny in Canada. But here, Martha...
How much is it here?
Well, I wouldn't want to say. In this country, a thing like that is very rare.
Yeah.
In fact, that's only the fourth one I've ever seen in my life, and you know how long I've been kicking around.
What else you got?
What else have I... Well, would you like a piece of genuine Vermont granite, Martha?
That's just a piece of stone, ain't it?
Not in Vermont, it isn't. In Vermont, that's granite. And you can't get better granite unless you want to import it. You certainly wouldn't want to go to all that trouble.
You got anything else?
Well, there's a compass here, only I wouldn't want to give you that. It's broken. Gee whiz, if you got lost with that, where would you be?
I don't want to do that.
Oh, here's something for you. Gee whiz.
What is it?
How would you like a ticket to the World's Fair?
To the World's Fair?
Sure.
You gonna give me this?
Of course, if you'll only stay with the rabbits.
Martha, may I speak with you?
Just a minute, Miss Aldrich.
Martha, that visitor downstairs did not want to see Mr. Aldrich. He wanted to see Hen-ree.
Hen-ree?
Somebody's here to see me, Mother?
Come right on up, Tommy.
Hen-ree up here? I'm up in my room, Tom. Martha, is it all set?
Well, I'll stay until the fair opens.
Hen-ree, take a look at this. What is it? It's the morning paper. Not so loud, Tommy. But it's got the ad we put in. Yeah, let's see it. I'm telling you, Henry, we're going to make money hand over fist. Has anyone phoned your house yet? Oh, it's too early. But I'm asking you, Henry, who else in town would have thought of using carrier pigeons this way? Not so loud, I tell you. What's the matter? What's the matter? We've got a new maid, and she ought to get used to one thing at a time. Doesn't she like pigeons? We don't know yet. She doesn't know you've got some up in the attic? She'll find it out, Tommy. She'll find it out. They're in the room right next to hers.
Oh, Henry, is your mother in there?
No, she isn't, Father. Tommy, fold the paper up quick and stick it on my desk.
Where'd she go?
Who, Mother?
What is it, Sam?
I dug my old blotter out of the trash barrel. I also found one of my good trout flies in there.
I almost hooked myself on that thing every time I go into your desk drawer.
You've no right to go in there, dear. That's my drawer, and everything in there is mine.
Mr. Aldrich.
Yes, Martha?
A party wants to speak to you on the telephone.
I'll be right there.
Henry, isn't that the morning paper sticking out of your desk?
Oh, that isn't ours, Mother. That's Tommy's.
I'll take it, Mrs. Aldrich. There's no use bothering you with that.
May I see it, please?
Oh, Mother, have you ever noticed how this piece of granite sparkles?
Henry, I'm looking at the advertisements before I do my shopping.
Well, wouldn't you like to have me look at them for you?
Oh, I certainly would not.
Have you noticed the ads on this other page, Mrs. Aldrich?
Over here?
Yeah.
Why should I buy a piano?
I don't know. They say they're good pianos.
Alice, will you please tell Martha not to call me every time the phone rings?
Who was that call for?
Tommy Walsh's mother wants to talk with him.
She wants to talk to me, Mr. Aldrich? She wants me?
Yes, Tommy.
Henry, the first one's come. The first one's come.
What has come?
A message he was expecting.
Sam, did you see this advertisement?
What advertisement?
I think it might interest Henry, too.
What's it for, Mother?
A clearance of men's and young men's shoes.
Shoes? Let me say it.
Here. Henry, are you too warm?
Warm, Mother?
What's the matter with you?
I just thought I'd get down and see Tommy. Father, could I have the paper, please?
One moment here. Alice, did you see this?
What?
This notice. It says, carrier pigeon service. Messages delivered to any point in Centerville. Low rates. Our birds can make 60 miles per hour under favorable conditions. Signed, Aldrich and Walsh, Incorporated.
Sam, read that again.
I'd rather not.
Henry, do you still have those pigeons up in the attic?
Well, less than a dozen, Mother.
What do you suppose Martha's going to do when she finds them?
But, Mother, Tommy and I can make some money.
Henry, you don't imagine anyone is actually going to use any such messenger service, do you?
Why not? We only charge 10 cents a message, and the whole thing's clear profit.
Do you mean to say, dear, your pigeons can go any place you send them?
Well, I couldn't go so far as to say that, Mother, but they're trained almost that well.
When Martha leaves, can your pigeons be trained to do the housework?
Could I keep the pigeons in my room, Mother?
No, dear.
Henry, may I come in?
Yes, Tommy.
Listen, Henry, Mrs. Persons wants us to deliver a very important message for her.
It's all off, Tommy.
Tommy, what is the message Mrs. Persons wants delivered?
Well, she didn't say. She just said we should come over right away.
And may I ask how a pigeon could possibly deliver a message for her?
Oh, it'd be simple, Mother. We've got Dizzy Stevens working for us on a commission, see? He takes one of our pigeons over to Mrs. Persons and fastens the message on her foot, see?
Onto Mrs. Persons' foot?
No, onto the pigeons.
How does it know where to go?
It comes here.
whether the message is for us or not.
Well, this is a relay junction. One of us then detaches the bird from the message, jumps on a bicycle, and delivers it.
Sure, that's all there is to it, Mr. Aldrich.
You don't say so.
Could anything be more simple?
And where is Mrs. Persons all this time?
That's the beautiful part of it. Once the message leaves her hands, she can forget the whole thing.
Supposing there's an answer.
What's that?
Supposing there's an answer.
Well, Mr. Aldrich, don't you think that would be an exceptional case? I mean, after all, most people just send a message, and that's all there is to it.
Sure, that's what I should think.
Well, Martha will never stand for our keeping those pigeons.
Oh, Alice, what does Martha have to do with it? The boys have an idea here.
Don't you want me to keep a maid?
Well, I don't think she should be spoiled.
That's what I think.
Now, can't you explain to Martha what Henry wants to do?
Well, if I can't understand it, certainly Martha can.
Mother, look at it this way.
Henry, there's no use arguing. Martha is not going to like pigeons.
But, Mother...
Henry, let me talk to your mother. Alice, I don't think what Henry wants to do is going to laugh. But I do think he should be allowed to try it. And I don't see why Martha should be afraid of pigeons.
Would you like it if a pigeon should get into your room in the middle of the night?
What harm could it do?
Well, I'm sure I wouldn't like it.
Where does the trouble seem to be, Henry?
No place, Tommy. We just have a temperamental maid.
Henry, if you must go through with this, supposing you wait while I have a talk with Martha.
If you want my advice, don't mention the pigeons to her, and she won't even notice they're there. What on earth is that?
It's coming from the attic.
I think it's Martha.
She's found the pigeons.
A week or so ago, ladies and gentlemen, one of our listeners gave a party. And a few days afterwards, she received a note of thanks from one of the guests. Now, you've all heard people refer to such a note as a bread and butter letter, but this one was a pudding letter, because here's the way it read.
Dear Helen, just a line or two to tell you how much Bob and I enjoyed the party. It certainly was a big success, and we all had a grand time. Incidentally, the real hit of the evening was that wonderful pudding you served for dessert. Bob keeps asking me to find out how you made it. So why don't you be a good girl and send me the recipe? Love, Julia.
Well, the next day, Helen answered her friend's letter, and if you could have peeked over her shoulder, you'd have read this.
Dear Julia, the pudding was called Jell-O Orange Vanilla Whip, and I heard about it on the radio, on the program called The Aldrich Family. Here's the way Harry Von Zell said to make it.
Well, first, you take one package each of orange Jell-O and Jell-O vanilla pudding and make them up as you usually do. Then chill the orange Jell-O and whip it as directed on the box. Next, you chill the Jell-O vanilla pudding and add it to the whipped Jell-O, beating constantly until blended. Then mold. And there you have a truly swell dessert. A glorious combination of golden orange Jell-O and smooth, creamy Jell-O vanilla pudding. Easy to make and downright inexpensive. P.S. Now, why not try some yourself, friends, and see how soon it becomes one of your special favorites. For rich, tangy flavor, for rare, distinctive goodness, Jell-O Orange Vanilla Whip is absolutely tops. Now, getting back to the problems of Hen-ree. The Aldriches have a new maid who apparently does not like pigeons. The scene opens on the second floor of the Aldrich home.
Sam, I've about decided you were right.
Regarding what, Alice?
Well, I don't think we should make Henry get rid of those pigeons just because Martha doesn't like them.
You certainly aren't going to let her go, are you?
Well, I thought you said I should.
Well, that was before she made that beef stew we had for lunch. That was the best beef stew, Alice, I ever ate in my life.
But if we let her have her way on the pigeons, she'll want her way on everything.
It might interest you to know, Alice, that Martha no longer objects to the pigeons.
How do you know?
I had a little talk with her.
What did you tell her?
Well, I told her we'd give her $1 a week more.
Sam Aldrich, you should never have told her that.
But I like her stew.
I still don't believe she's going to stay in a house with something she's scared to death of for only $1 a week extra.
Well, if you must know, I gave her something else.
What?
My trout fly. She wanted it for a hat ornament.
Well, at least I won't be hooked on it anymore.
I also gave her a timetable.
I thought she was staying.
No, she is, until the Chicago World's Fair reopens.
And what year will that be?
I've no idea, but she's staying until then.
Mother!
Where are you, Henry?
I'm coming down the attic stairs. Have any pigeons flown in any windows down here yet?
None that I've seen.
Isn't that strange?
How's your messenger service working?
Fine. I wonder how you can account for a thing like that. You gotta give our bird time, Henry. But baby's the fastest bird we have.
Something seemed to have gone wrong, Henry?
Oh, nothing, Father. Nothing. Just seems to be a minor delay. The only thing that's wrong is we don't know where our pigeon went. Of course, maybe Dizzy Stevens hasn't even got her over to Mrs. Persons yet. That's what happened. Sure, Dizzy probably took the nickel we paid him and is out blowing it in. Come on back up into the attic.
Boys, you haven't forgotten your promise to stay out of Martha's room while you're up there.
Oh, we haven't been near her door, Father. Henry, what do you suppose has become of baby? Gee whiz, there's probably a strong headwind holding her back. But Mrs. Persons only lives a mile from here. Maybe she arrived when we weren't looking and couldn't see that this attic window here was open. She can find this house. She certainly ought to be able to tell whether a window was open. Tommy, take a look outside. At what? Look, she's coming 90 miles an hour. That isn't the direction Mrs. Persons lives in. What difference does it make? She's coming, isn't she? She probably went around so she could come in on the wind. Well, where is she now? She's straight up there. Henry, I think I can see the message. Father, Mother, come up for the landing. Stand back from the window, Tommy, so we don't frighten her. Where is she? She's overhead. Gee whiz. She went right by. To where? I don't know. She didn't stop. Just when we need her. As a matter of fact, that might have been some other bird. You know, what we need is a pair of binoculars. Yeah.
Has she landed, Henry?
Not yet, Father. It was just an aeroplane or something.
Well, Martha's on her way up there.
Oh, well, come right up, Martha.
All alone?
Martha wants you to come down and meet her.
Sure, I'll escort you up, Martha.
Ain't no them pigeons loose up there, is there?
Gee whiz, no, Martha. Every bird up here is in her own cage. And look, Martha, they won't hurt you. I put my fingers right through the bars and they don't even touch me.
Just let me in my room here.
There you are, Martha.
Close that door.
Sure. Henry, take a look out the window. Where? She's right over there on the roof of the next house. Tommy, there she is. Hiya, baby. Father, Mother, hey, everybody, look outside. Come on, baby, come on. Martha.
What's the matter?
Leave your window open in case baby wants to come in that way.
I'm going back to close it right now.
Tommy, is baby coming? Here, baby. She just sits on the roof of Mrs. Kilmer's house. Maybe she wants a rest for a minute. After flying just 1 mile? Can you see the message? Sure. Look, Henry, she's coming. Yeah, only to the end of the roof, though. Well, that's in our direction, isn't it? Her instincts are right.
Boys, do you have your bird yet?
Where are you, Father?
Down here on the back walk.
She just flew onto the windowsill. And maybe she likes that house. Maybe she thinks we live there. Mr. Aldrich, could you get a stick and poke her?
There's no stick down here, that log.
Gee, if everybody would keep quiet a second, maybe she'd come over here naturally. Henry, is she coming? She looked this way. That means she's getting ready. See that? What'd she do? She sat down. Mr. Aldrich, could you ring the bell next door and ask the people to push her off the windowsill?
I happen to know the Kilmers are out.
At a time like this? Father, could you go inside and push her off?
I could not.
Well, gee whiz, do you suppose she's going to nest on that windowsill? Maybe she's going to lay an egg. Father, do you see that ladder right there by the side of our house?
I do, but I'm not going to climb up it.
But she may be gone by the time we get down there.
Sam, put that ladder against the house and help the boys.
Where are you, Mother?
I'm down here with your father.
I'm not going to climb up the side of Kilmer's house.
Well, wasn't it your idea that the boys go ahead with this?
Well, I certainly didn't know it was going to lead to breaking into houses.
Sam.
All right, I'll help them.
Oh, Henry, step into Martha's room and tell her it's time to start dinner.
Yes, Mother. Martha.
What you want?
My mother says it's time to start dinner.
You got that flying devil caught yet?
Martha, if you come out, we'll give you protection to the foot of the stairs. Martha! Isn't she timid, though? Father, if you can get baby down, I think we can get Martha out.
You don't say so.
Don't talk to him, Henry. You want him to fall off that ladder?
Must you mention my falling?
Just talk to her, Father, and she'll come.
What shall I say to her?
Just say, here, baby. Come, baby. Here, baby.
I'm not going to say anything of the kind.
Mr. Aldrich, if you'll stand on the top rung and reach, I think you can get her.
Sam, don't fall.
Grab her quickly, but carefully, Father.
Yes. Is there anyone else who would like to give me advice?
Oh, gee, look who's opening that window.
Was there something you wanted, Sam Aldrich?
How do you do, Mrs. Kilmer? Where did the pigeon go?
What pigeon?
She didn't fly in your window, did she?
What are you talking about?
My father, he's trying to get a message.
To me?
No, from a pigeon.
Henry, you're not helping matters any.
Mr. Aldrich, she's down there on the limb of that tree. Father, all you have to do is move your ladder.
I'm not going to climb anything more.
Sam, if we don't get that bird, we won't have any dinner.
I can't help it.
What are you having for dinner, Mrs. Aldrich? Pigeon pie?
Alice, if I don't stop now, I'll end by climbing everything in town.
Mother, could you climb up the tree?
No, dear.
Could you throw a stick?
There aren't any sticks.
Could you just toss a stone in her direction?
All right, dear.
Not toward me, Alice.
Be sure not to hit baby either.
Here it goes.
You're too high, Mother!
Who do that?
Gee whiz, Mother, duck around the corner. It went through Martha's window.
Didn't I tell you you couldn't trust them there, pigeons?
And now baby's flown away.
If you ask me, Alice, no maid on earth is worth it.
Well, she's just gone up to the attic and she's perfectly happy.
Well, she had better be. It cost me $3 to get Henry to go out of business.
Mother, you down in the living room?
Yes, dear, where are you?
Could you come up to the second floor just a minute?
Now, what is it?
Martha doesn't want to go up to her room.
Tell Martha there isn't a pigeon left in the house.
No, my father made me give them all away, Martha.
Yes, Martha. Henry even gave his rabbits away just so you'd stay.
I appreciate that. Only I never been up there before in the dark.
Well, there's a light in your room.
Not till I get to it.
Martha, what if it is dark? As soon as you get to your door, you snap the switch on and there's light.
Yeah.
And if Henry isn't afraid, certainly you shouldn't be.
Henry, will you go up there with me?
Who, I?
Of course he will. In fact, Martha, if it'll make you any happier, Henry will even sit in the chair just outside your door until you get to sleep.
In the dark, Mother?
Of course.
I thought you weren't afraid.
I'm not.
I'll open the door to the stairs for you. There you are.
Henry, you go in first.
Oh, you can go first, Martha. Then if anything happens, you'll know I'm right in back of you.
Henry? Henry?
Mother, I'll lead the way. Are you coming, Martha?
Yes.
Good night.
Gee, I didn't realize it was so dark up here.
What's that?
It's the chair outside your door. There's the light, Martha. Go right in.
You gonna sit out here?
Sure. I don't mind the dark.
Good night.
Good night.
Martha ain't afraid either.
Martha?
What you want?
Do I have to sit out here like this very long?
You'll get used to it after a couple of nights. Where did I put my nightgown? Come over here, you little rascal, to say good night. Martha, you sure it's all alone? I like to talk to myself. Now, Martha, turn out the light. And get in the bed. My goodness, but it's quiet in this room. Henry! Mr. Henry!
Well?
I'll let you know when I'm asleep. I guess this place ain't so bad after all. Who that? Who that? There ain't nothing, Martha. Just lie right still. If Miss Aldrich give you her word, I swear there's birds in here. There is birds in here.
Are you all right, Martha?
There's eagles in here.
Get away from me! Henry, where are you? I thought I'd go downstairs for something, Martha. Well, come back. Well, just turn on the light. The pigeons, they all come back.
What in the world is going on up there?
Look, only one came back. One's enough. And it's Baby. It's Baby.
Where is she?
Sitting right over there on Martha's dresser.
She's right on my ticket to the wood fair.
Mother, you hold Martha while I save Baby.
Hey, what's the trouble here?
Martha, what is that rabbit doing beside your bed?
I hope you don't mind my keeping just one, Miss Aldrich. Frankly, I just took the like the little fellas, and I kind of took the one to keep one of all of them.
Martha.
I just got the message, Father. Mrs. Persons wants a man to hurry over and fix her oil burner this afternoon.
You don't say so.
Martha, what are you getting your suitcase out for?
If you don't mind, Miss Aldrich, frankly, I think I'll go.
Well, frankly, Martha, we don't mind.
Hen-ree Al-drich will be back again in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, here is a full-length description of perfect dessert enjoyment, summed up in only 3 little words. Yes, just 3 words: Jell-O butterscotch pudding. All you have to do is mention these 3 magic words to your grocer, and you'll be all set to enjoy a rich, mellow dessert that tastes just right and offers you a world of hearty, zestful satisfaction. Jell-O butterscotch pudding has a rare, tantalizing flavor, brimful of swell, buttery, brown sugar goodness. And you'll be simply delighted with its creamy smoothness and tempting golden color. So, friends, try this easy, inexpensive recipe for a delicious treat. You can guarantee yourself a real pleasure, a grand adventure in good things to eat, the very first time you meet up with this popular new dessert, Jell-O butterscotch pudding.
Tommy, look at the advertisement I just answered. What is it? I'm going to take a course. I'm going to be a railway clerk. Do your folks mind you're leaving home? Shh. I'm not telling them until I'm all ready.
Well, maybe Henry will be sorting your mail. The Aldrich Family, starring Ezra Stone, is written by Clifford Goldsmith and will be heard next week at the same time. Original music is composed and conducted by Jack Miller. This is Harry Von Zell speaking and wishing you good night for those delicious new desserts all America's talking about. Jell-O pudding.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Aldrich Family, starring Ezra Stone, written by Clifford Goldsmith. Brought to you by Jell-O Puddings. They're tops in taste. To the gallery of typical American boys, such as Penrod, Tom Sawyer, Peck's Bad Boy, we add the name of Hen-ree Al-drich. But now let's go out to the little town of Centerville. Our scene opens on a hillside on the outskirts of town. The model airplane race Henry and his father worked for weeks to win has just finished. Henry is talking to Mr. Collins, the referee.
Yes, but, Mr. Collins, my plane was flying against a very strong headwind.
But I made allowance for the headwind.
You did?
Yes, Henry.
Mr. Collins, what kind of a watch did you time Henry's plane with?
With this stopwatch.
Is it a pretty good one?
It is. Billy Walker's model covered the course in 1/2 of a second less than Henry's.
Not by my watch, Mr. Collins.
Is yours a stopwatch, Dizzy?
No, but it used to belong to my grandfather.
Is your grandfather an official for this race?
No, but he carried this watch for 35 years and nothing ever happened. Hey, gee whiz, look at it.
Did it break, Dizzy?
Henry, you're standing on the mainspring.
Oh, yeah. Excuse me. Here's the stem, too.
Well, where did Mr. Collins go?
He walked away.
That's a swell thing for him to do. I ought to make him pay for this watch.
Mr. Collins! Hey, Mr. Collins!
Now, wait a minute. I just went over and got these figures.
What are they?
Henry, when your plane was flying, the wind was blowing at 11.5 miles an hour. When Billy Walker's was flying, the wind was 4.5 miles an hour. So I naturally made an allowance of 6 miles an hour in Henry's favor.
Well,
Henry, does that sound right to you?
As a matter of fact, isn't 4.5 from 11.5 7?
No, sir.
No, I guess 6 is right.
Of course it is.
Only it certainly looks like 7.
And I could swear Henry's plane went faster.
Someplace there's been a big mistake.
What seems to be the trouble, Henry?
Father, you and I lose the race by just half a second.
And a half a second is a half a second.
I know, Mr. Collins, but that's all it is.
Henry, may I speak with you?
Where, Father?
Right over here.
You want to speak to me too, Mr. Aldrich?
No, thank you.
What is it, Father?
Henry, don't you think that as long as we lost the race, it would be better if we said nothing more about it?
But, Father, Dizzy's watch didn't register 16.5 seconds.
Does his watch have half seconds on it?
No, but up until a few minutes ago, it always kept perfect time.
Henry, I happen to be doing some business with Billy Walker's father, and it might be just as well if you didn't say anything more about it.
But, Dad, look at all the time we spent building that plane.
After all, we did finish second.
Sure.
Henry, I want to tell you when your father something.
Sorry, Dizzy, but I've got to go back to the office.
Well, you'd be very much interested, Mr. Aldrich.
Tell Henry.
Henry, I knew all the time there was something phony. Henry, wasn't every plane that was supposed to go in the race be made by a father and a son?
Sure.
Well, I'll bet you anything Billy Walker and his father didn't make theirs.
Well, where do you think they got it?
I know where. I was just overlooking at it, and I remember seeing the very same thing down in Jones's sporting goods store.
Are you sure, Dizzy?
There's only one thing about it that's different. Billy's is blue and the one at the store was red.
Then it can't be the same plane, can it?
No, that's what you think. I scratched a little of the blue paint off, and right underneath was the red paint.
Yeah?
Yeah. Henry, if you win, it means a trip to the Capitol.
Well, gee whiz, I don't care what my father says. I'm going down to Mr. Walker's office.
Now, wait a second. Don't go rushing into this.
Why not?
I've got a book at home that'll tell you exactly what to do in a case like this.
Well, what should we do?
Well, before we come right out and accuse anybody, we've got to get proof. That's the important thing, Henry.
Naturally, Dizzy. Anybody knows that. Because you accuse somebody doesn't mean he's guilty. You've got to get proof. I hope you don't think I didn't know that.
Yeah, but you don't know as much about those things as I do, Henry.
No, well, I know where I'm going.
Where?
Follow me. When we bust this case open, it'll shock everybody.
Sure.
Especially my father. Yes, sir, when he hears of it, he'll be speechless. Where are we going? Wait until I show you. Wasn't it funny, Dizzy, when we were talking with Mr. Collins? I could have sworn 4.5 from 11.5 would leave 7.
Same here. But I guess you got to put it down on paper before you can believe it.
Yeah, must have been the fractions that threw us off.
Didn't I tell you, Henry? Look in the window. Look.
Well, you mean here in Jones's sporting goods
yeah.
store? Well, that's the same identical plane the Walkers had. Come on.
Now, wait a second, Henry. Let's do this carefully.
We're going to. We aren't going to rush into it. We'll just be casual.
That's it. And all we'll do is make out we want to buy something, and then we'll gradually lead up to the plane.
Right.
Come on in. Well, where is Mr. Jones?
I guess he must be in the back. When he comes out, don't mention why we're here.
Something you boys want?
We just thought we'd look around, Mr. Jones.
At airplanes.
Dizzy.
Did I say airplanes? What I meant was,
That's the only thing we aren't interested in.
I see.
Mr. Jones, do you carry baseball bats?
You're looking right at baseball bats.
Am I? Oh, yeah. Oh, maybe that's why I mentioned them.
How much are they, Mr. Jones?
50 cents up.
Oh, yeah. Well, how much are your tennis rackets?
$1.95 up.
Oh, yeah. Well, how much your fishing tackle?
$25 down.
Oh, Dizzy, look at the airplane models.
Oh, sure enough. I haven't seen those before.
Which kind?
The kind Mr. Walker bought. I mean...
What kind did he buy?
Oh, did he buy one?
Who?
I thought you said Mr. Walker bought one.
When did I make that statement?
No, Dizzy, you misunderstood. What Mr. Jones...
No, just what did you boys come in here for?
Well, Mr. Jones, would you mind if we should ask you something confidentially?
What?
Did Mr. Walker buy one of those planes you have in the window?
Buy one? Not here, he didn't. I only stocked up with 5, and they're all right there.
Are you sure you couldn't have miscounted them?
Yes, sir. Why?
Oh, nothing. Nothing. We were just asking out of sheer curiosity. Casually.
Well, look who's coming across the street.
Oh, gee whiz, Dizzy, it's Mr. Walker. Well, Mr. Jones, I guess we better be going.
Good afternoon, Jones.
Oh, how are you, Walker?
Hello, Mr. Walker.
Sorry my boy and I had to beat you today.
Oh, we were glad to have you win. I think I'll be going, Dizzy.
I think I might as well, too.
Walker, maybe you can answer a question for these boys.
Oh, that's all right, Mr. Jones. Don't bother him about it.
What was the question?
Well, I can assure you, Mr. Jones, I don't know how the question even came up.
Oh, Walker, Henry and his buddy thought you bought an airplane here.
You mean the plane Billy and I won the race with?
Oh, no, Mr. Walker.
Well, what plane did you mean?
Oh, not any, Mr. Walker. Henry's just confused.
Oh, well, I'm relieved to hear that. I'll be seeing Henry's father down at his office in just a few minutes.
Hello, Henry.
Hiya, Phyllis.
I just saw your father, Henry.
You did?
Mr. Collins was talking to him.
Well,
Mr. Collins was quite mad about something.
About what?
I'm leaving, Dizzy.
Well, so am I. Goodbye, Mr. Walker.
Goodbye.
Gee whiz, Dizzy, now look at what you've done.
Well, I at least tried, didn't I?
Didn't I tell you my father doesn't want to upset Mr. Walker?
You never mentioned it.
Well, you should have known anyhow. All we did was practically accuse him of cheating. That's...
Henry.
What?
Never mind about your father. Here comes mine right towards us.
Good. I hope the first thing he asks is where your watch is.
That's friendship. I tried to help you win the race, and what thanks do I get?
Henry, wait for me.
What does Phyllis want?
What do you think I just heard Mr. Jones say to Mr. Walker back in the store?
What?
They looked at each other very suspiciously, and Mr. Walker said, "Where do you suppose those boys got that idea?"
He did, Phyllis?
Yeah.
Do you see that, Henry? And now do you say I haven't helped you?
Well, I don't know.
Did he say anything else, Phyllis?
Mr. Jones said, "Well, I guess we spiked that."
Oh, we did, eh?
Is that important?
Is it important, Phyllis? Is it important?
Well, I gotta go, Henry. I'll see you later.
Gee whiz.
Henry, all we gotta do now is to go through with it.
Don't you think so, dear?
I've got a fingerprint outfit at home, and I always knew that someday it would come in handy. We'll find out whether that plane of Billy Walker's did come from the store.
Sure, all we have to do is get Mr. Jones's fingerprints.
And then Mr. Walker's.
Only maybe we ought to be careful about taking Mr. Walker's.
He won't even know we're doing it. And listen, Henry, we ought to be really systematic and get everybody's print in town.
Everybody? Do you realize how big this town is?
But, Henry, look what they do in Washington. They don't get a few, they get millions.
Well, I guess maybe if they can do that in Washington, we can handle this town. Come on.
Well, here it is, friends, the 6th week of spring. Spring, spring, glorious spring. When a young man's fancy lightly turns to thoughts of, well, you know the rest of that saying. But now that we mention it, just how true is that old saying about a young man's fancy? Suppose we see if we can't find out. Let's ask some young man for his opinion. Listen.
Yes, the statement is perfectly true. In the spring, my fancy certainly does turn to thoughts of Jell-O vanilla pudding.
Oh.
In fact, I think I eat more Jell-O vanilla pudding in the spring than in any other season of the year. Except, of course, winter, summer, and fall.
Yes, well, that, ladies and gentlemen, is an observation that everybody will be glad to echo. Because just about everyone who has ever tasted it agrees that Jell-O vanilla pudding is a mighty swell dessert. Jell-O vanilla pudding has a gloriously smooth texture, as smooth as golden, rich cream. And the flavor of Jell-O vanilla pudding, well, it's simply irresistible. A grand vanilla flavor that hits a new high for luscious, delicate goodness. So try this tempting treat just as soon as you can, and find out the truth of another popular saying which goes like this. When there's Jell-O vanilla pudding for dessert, the thing you think of first is second. Now, getting back to the troubles of Hen-ree Al-drich. Henry feels that he has been cheated out of first place in an airplane model contest, and is trying his best to prove it. The time is evening. The scene opens in Henry's room.
It's a funny thing, Henry, how my grandfather was able to carry this watch for 35 years, and I drop it at the end of a week.
Listen, Dizzy, put that away. Haven't we got work to do?
I've got to get it all back together. I've got it all back together except for these two wheels, and if I don't find out where they go, my father, will kill me.
He will, huh? But we're coming to the most crucial part of our job. Here we are. We've got fingerprint powder and fingerprint ink.
Henry, aren't your folks having some guests here tonight?
Well, I don't think we ought to take their fingerprints, Dizzy.
Listen, I thought you weren't going to show favoritism.
Yeah, I know, Dizzy, but they're
all right, then. We just as well not start this.
Well, can this fingerprint ink do any damage?
How could it?
But supposing it should get on something.
It comes right out. Oh. Listen, here are the instructions for washing. It says, easy method for removing. No worry need be caused by damage. Merely dip in kerosene, rinse, and wash with strong abrasive. If first results are not satisfactory, add lemon juice and rub harder.
Well, gee, there isn't anything to worry about there, is there?
Of course there isn't.
The only thing is, Dizzy, when you shake hands with a person, I should think they'd feel the ink pad in your hand.
Do you think they would?
Well, why not? What would they think it was?
Almost anything.
For what? Name me one other thing that feels like a pad of ink.
All right. How would this be? We'll just rub a little ink on the palms of our hands.
That might work.
Sure, look, I've got some on already. Now watch, when I hold my hand down here at my side, do you notice it?
No. Yeah, I think I'll put a little on.
Well, hurry up so we can be downstairs when the guests begin to come.
Okay. I'm all fixed.
Wait a second. Have you got a handkerchief?
What for?
I've got it. I've got it.
Use your own.
My watch is wrapped up in it.
Well, my watch is... Here, take mine, here.
Never mind, I haven't got to anymore.
Come on downstairs.
When we go into the living room, you let me shake hands with your mother and father.
Why can't I have one of them?
Why should you, their son, step up and shake hands with them? Do you want to give the whole thing away?
Well, I get the first two guests, then.
Yeah. And when I get the ink on your mother and father, watch them carefully. The minute they touch something, socko, we've got them.
You don't think my mother or father bought that plane, do you?
No, but you never can tell. Someday they might be wanted for something.
Henry!
Yes, Mother?
Are you out in the hall?
We're just coming into the living room.
You mustn't stay down here long.
Oh, we won't, Mother.
Good evening, Mr. Aldrich.
Good evening.
Wouldn't you like to shake hands with me?
Shake hands? Weren't you here with us for dinner?
Yeah, but I just came downstairs again.
I don't think it's necessary to shake hands. Henry, could you hand me my pipe, please?
I'll hand it to him, Henry.
Let me hand it to him, Dizzy.
Please, Henry.
Here, Sam, I'll hand it to you.
Thank you, Alice.
Mrs. Aldrich, wouldn't you like to shake hands with me?
No, thank you, Dizzy.
Won't you boys sit down before one of you knocks something over?
I think I will.
I guess I will, too.
Henry.
Yes, Mother?
I don't like to seem rude, but we are expecting guests.
Well, couldn't we stay down here just until they've arrived, Mother?
Why do you want to do that?
Well, don't you think it'd be nice for us to help greet them?
Henry, I'd do as your mother asks.
Well, in that case, I think I'll be going home.
Oh, must you go?
I think I will. Do you like to shake hands now that I'm leaving, Mr. Aldrich?
I don't think it will be necessary.
I may not be seeing you again right away.
No.
Sam, the least you can do is shake hands with the boy.
Well, if it'll make him any happier. Here, shake hands.
Goodbye, Mr. Aldrich.
Goodbye.
Would you like to shake hands too, Mrs. Aldrich?
I'm sorry, but I've got to go out to the kitchen.
I'll go to the door with you, Dizzy.
You know, I think I changed my mind, Henry. I may not go home after all.
Just 1 minute, boys.
Something you wanted, Father?
Dizzy, what's this I have on my hand?
Why,
This black ink.
Why... Well, how do you suppose that could have gotten there?
May I see your hand?
My left hand?
Your right hand.
Oh, well, what do you know about that? Do you suppose I could have gotten that from you?
Henry, may I see your hand?
Were you talking to me, Father?
May I see it, please?
Well, will you look at that?
If I were you, I would go upstairs and wash my hands.
Yes, Mr. Aldrich, that's the least we can do.
I agree, and please do not come back down while the guests are here.
But, Father, we've got to.
What for?
We've got to get their fingerprints.
You're not going to do any such thing.
No, Mr. Aldrich?
No.
Come on, Dizzy.
Now I've got to go out to the kitchen and wash my hands.
You know, Dizzy, I had a feeling all the time we shouldn't be doing this.
Well, that's only part of the trouble. There's something you don't even know anything about.
What?
Well, when I came in the front door this evening, I put some ink on the doorknob.
On the outside?
On both sides.
Gee whiz, Dizzy.
I did it so we'd be sure to get everybody.
Well, we've got to wipe it off.
If we do, Henry, we won't have prints of anybody but our own.
Boys, have you gone upstairs?
Yeah, in 1 minute, Mother.
I hope we won't have to tell Dizzy's father and mother when they come.
When who comes?
Your mother and father.
Henry, we've got to wipe that doorknob off. Give me a handkerchief.
Henry!
Yes, Father, we're just going to open the front door.
You will please go upstairs as I ask you to.
Yeah, but Father, a mistake has been made.
Please march.
Mr. Aldrich, could I tell you?
Both of you go up those stairs.
Yes, Father.
What do you think we should do in a case like this, Henry?
Well, hello there, Frank Stevens.
Oh, so you decided to let us in.
Hello there, Molly. Hello, Alice.
Well, what do you have there, Frank? Brand new hat?
Spring has struck the Stevens. This color is what is known as dove gray.
That suit he has on is new, too.
Molly, just because you don't like checks. Say, how'd that smudge get on my hat?
Oh, Frank Stevens.
Do you suppose they sold it to me that way?
I told you all the time the car needed washing.
That isn't off the car.
If those smudges were on your new suit, I wouldn't mind.
May I take your hat, Frank?
You may.
Well, there seems to be a smudge on the crown, too.
Yeah. It's beginning to look like a tweed cap.
Put it down, Sam. You probably didn't wash your hands clean.
I washed them perfectly clean, Alice. Look at them. Yes, look at them.
Sam Aldrich.
Well, I certainly thought I washed.
Frank, let me turn your coat collar down.
How did that get up?
My goodness, dear. There. Frank, there's a smudge on your collar, too.
Hey?
Well, I didn't put it there.
Well, all of you just stand back from me. Until I came into this house, I was the best-dressed man in town.
Molly, maybe you'd better hang this hat up.
I can't take it right now, Sam. I'm going to powder my nose. You want a mirror, Molly? No, thank you.
She knows where her nose is.
Just the same, Molly. Would you mind looking in the mirror? What's the matter with me?
Never mind. Just look in the mirror.
Oh!
That's where all those smudges have been coming from.
Molly, go upstairs and wash. And Sam, you go out in the kitchen.
Do you have one more place?
Henry!
Sam, what do you want Hen-ree for?
Never mind. I'm going upstairs. Hen-ree Al-drich.
Yes, Father.
Will you and Dizzy please come here?
Has something gone wrong, Father?
Something has.
Of what nature, Mr. Aldrich?
Did either of you boys put ink around this house?
On the front doorknob?
Yes.
Well, the fact is, Father...
What is all this fingerprinting nonsense?
And that's what we tried to tell you. We didn't do it as a joke. We're trying to prove Mr. Walker is guilty.
Didn't I tell you to forget Mr. Walker?
But he wasn't fair.
Tell him about what we have in your room, Henry.
Yeah, sure. We've got a cardboard box we found in the Walker trash barrel, and it's the box their airplane came in.
Henry, I want you to go straight to bed.
Yes, Father.
Where do you want me to go, Mr.
You, Dizzy, may go downstairs and take a look at your father's hat.
Are there some fingerprints on it?
There are.
Do I hear Basil's voice up there?
I'm coming right down, Father.
Do you know anything about this?
Well, it's this way.
What's the matter with you?
I'm going to sneeze. I'm going.
Well, where's your handkerchief?
It's right here.
Basil, look at your grandfather's watch.
Father, could I please come down?
I'll see you at breakfast.
Sam, quick!
What's the matter?
Another guest is at the front door. Hen-ree!
Yes, Mother?
Will you please come to your breakfast?
I'm on the telephone, Mother. Hello, Mr. Stevens? Yeah, I just started to give you the directions. Dip your hat in kerosene, see? Yeah. And if that doesn't work, do you have any lemons in the house? Yes, sir. Just straight lemon juice. And then I think you'll find everything will come right out of your hat. Yes, sir. How's Dizzy this morning? Is that right? Is that right? I won't be seeing him until the end of the week? Goodbye, Mr. Stevens.
Oh, Henry, may I talk with you?
Oh, I haven't eaten my breakfast yet, Father.
I'd like to see you now before I leave for the office.
Yes, Father.
Sit down on this sofa here.
Yes, Father.
Did I ask you yesterday not to go around trying to prove that Mr. Walker and his son did not honestly win that race?
Yes, sir, but that was before we knew everything, Father.
Finding an empty cardboard box is hardly sufficient evidence to prove someone has been cheating.
But don't you see, you and I are being gypped out of a trip to the Capitol.
The fact still remains I asked you not to do anything more about it.
But why, Father? Why?
Because, Hen-ree, Mr. Walker did buy that plane.
He did?
Yes.
I knew all the time he cheated us. Who told you?
Mr. Walker told me when he came over to my office yesterday.
Oh, gee whiz, then we did get first prize. We can go after all.
Henry, did you know that some weeks ago Billy Walker was taken ill?
Yes, but, Father, that was way back in February.
Did you know that off and on for nearly 2 months the boy lay in bed with a high fever?
He wasn't sick the day of the race, though. I know he wasn't. I saw him walking around with my own eyes.
That's the point, son. What finally broke Billy's fever was the announcement in the Centerville Times of that airplane race.
How could that break it?
From the time he went to bed, it was the first and only thing he took any interest in.
He certainly couldn't have wanted to go into it any more than I did.
Now, wait, son, wait. The doctors told Mr. Walker it was absolutely imperative for Bill to have a plane and go into the race. That's the reason. And that's the only reason Mr. Walker went out and bought the plane.
I know, Father, but gee whiz, look at it this way.
I'm going to leave it entirely up to you. You may do anything about it you care to.
You mean to say that Billy's going to take that trip to the Capitol when he knows he cheated?
He doesn't know he cheated. Aside from you and I, son, there are only 2 people in this town who know that plane wasn't built in Walker's basement.
Who are they?
One is Billy's father, and the other is Mr. Jones.
I knew all the time Mr. Jones was lying. And he humiliated me right in front of Mr. Walker. Henry, are you in the house there? Is that you, Dizzy? Excuse me for coming right in, but I've got some great news for you.
Oh, good morning, Dizzy.
Good morning, Mr. Aldrich. I shouldn't be here, but I've got to tell Henry. Listen, I was lying in bed this morning, and I got to subtracting. Subtracting what? Those figures of Mr. Collins. When you take 4.5 from 11.5, you don't get 6. No? You get 7. Billy Walker didn't win that race. You won it by more than a second. Yeah? Sure. It's as clear as anything. The only thing is, Dizzy, when you subtract 4.5 from 11.5, you do get 6. No. Sure you do. You do? Of course. Well, I'll be darned, Henry. I guess you're right. Sure. Sure, I couldn't have won the race.
Isn't that right, Father?
For once, Henry, your mathematics are absolutely correct.
Ladies and gentlemen, is there a swell, tasty dessert in the house? The answer is yes when you've got a package of Jell-O chocolate pudding on the pantry shelf. There's no doubt about it. With Jell-O chocolate pudding for dessert, you're all fixed for a feast. Because this grand pudding has a flavor that's really and truly delicious. And with the first dip of the spoon, you'll know you're in for a lot of keen enjoyment. Jell-O chocolate pudding is full of rich, chocolatey goodness. A pleasing, mellow flavor that spells real satisfaction. It's a creamy, smooth dessert, unsurpassed for topping off a meal in top-notch style. And you'll find that Jell-O chocolate pudding is both easy and inexpensive to serve. So tomorrow night for dinner, delight the family with this tempting chocolate treat. There's a world of luscious pleasure all ready and waiting for you in Jell-O chocolate pudding.
Henry, I can't begin to tell you how pleased I was with you this morning.
Thank you, Father. Oh, do we have any steel wool in the house?
What do you want it for?
I'm going over and help Dizzy clean his father's hat.
If there is anything left of Mr. Stevens' hat when Henry and Dizzy get through with it, I'll eat mine. The Aldrich Family, starring Ezra Stone, is written by Clifford Goldsmith. Original music is composed and conducted by Jack Miller. This is Harry Von Zell speaking and wishing you good night for Jell-O pudding.